Welcome to a live edition of the CK Podcast. I'm your host, Leo Biaz, and today we have our co-host, Vince Miracle, chiming in about 2022 Sacramento Kings Media Day. I was there in person. The vibes are real. You felt that electricity. But yet again, if I'm playing devil's advocate, it's positive vibes league-wide. Like, even the Magic thing don't win the championship this year. It's just one of those things where Media Day is a day where it's a feel-good story, and even the most pessimistic Kings fan can be like, I think this team might be different this year. But what's up, brother? How you doing? And what were your initial thoughts about Media Day?
Yeah, man, it was a normal media day. Kings, I think that with the Kings atmosphere, like it's that there's positivity in the air. There's a sense of change in the air that has a lot of people excited, and I think the organization is showing that as well. They're showing their excitement for the team that they've built. I think this is the first time in a long time we've seen that. Just the excitement for their team. That does not mean they're gonna win games.
Yeah.
And yes, just like you said, when you're at media day, most of the energy is positive, unless you're the Brooklyn Nets, the Phoenix Suns, and the Boston Celtics. A lot of the energy is going to be good times, no matter where you go. So
Uh,
it's still nice to see. I think it's a positive thing to see, at least.
Unless you're DeAndre Ayton, right? That was super awkward, but yes. Before we get into all the sound bites, this episode is presented by Chasins in Elk Grove. We just threw a comedy special with Lance Woods being the headliner last Friday, the 23rd. So this weekend, it was a great event. Highly recommend you guys to go out, support Chasins in Elk Grove. Great seafood, great vibes, a great place to watch football on Sundays as well, even on Mondays. And right now, Vince Miracle got the Cowboys money lines. It looks like they're going to close a deal. But yes, huge shout out to Chasins in Elk Grove for sponsoring this episode of the CK Podcast. I think what set the tone early on for Media Day was without question head coach Mike Brown. Let's listen to it right now. I mean, this dude was legit into it, and you gotta love it, man.
Because this league is hard.
Can you hear it?
Every time you step out on the floor, no matter who you face, it's a challenge. And for me, having that competitiveness, regardless.
Does that concern you?
No. Ah! I love it.
Mike, I know you mentioned over
Mindset.
All right, thoughts on that, man?
It's just a player coach right there. You can tell he just wants to keep the energy alive, trying to show he's there for his guys. I think Mike Brown just brings this aura around him that the last few head coaches for the Kings haven't really brought. So it's nice to feel that. You can see the electricity in the air when he speaks. He does, captivate an audience. Like when the media is around and when he's talking, he deserves your attention in what he's about to say, and he can tell that he has it. And he wants to also support his guys. I think the energy he's bringing is very positive. I think it's a voice that needs to be listened to amongst these players. So I'm excited to see what Mike Brown brings. I'm not saying it's going to be successful just yet, but I'm excited to see what he's capable of bringing.
Coaching staff, all that. It's going to be huge for us. The set of values and principles that I've established and that will be upheld by myself and the rest of the leadership around the organization, including leadership on the team. And then the third one is, Mike Tomlin said this at one time, said it best. He said, when he was talking about his own team and the different positions and players that he had in different positions on his team, he said, hey, you got a lot of dogs, but one bone. And he said, there's depth out there, and it's going to be competitive. But at the end of the day, only one person can play. And so knowing your role.
So you got a lot of dogs, just one bone. I don't know if Fabio thought he's a troll or what, but he says, why did I think he was fired already? Your thoughts on this notion or this idea of there's a lot of dogs but one bone on this team?
I think it's just more of just knowing that this team has talent right now, and I think that's a good problem to have. being that the Kings over the last few years have not had that problem. So it's encouraging, but it's also realistic. Like you have to find that balance of who's touching the ball, who's scoring the ball, and the minutes that are going to get played out there. That's why I'm so intrigued heading into this training camp.
And one of the big, I guess, battles, right, is the four. You got Trey Lyles, you got Metu, you got the rookie. Let's take a look at what Metu and Lyles had to say.
Coming into camp.
Summer's been good, man. A lot of basketball, working out, national team stuff. So I'm ready to go.
How was it for you coming into all these familiar faces with all the guys that were on your coaching staff?
It was a little funny at first, but I mean, obviously, guys are here, working. Everybody's trying to achieve the same goal. So it's going to be a fun year. Just having guys that kind of we're all comfortable with each other. So.
How's the level of competition been? You got a lot of players at your position,
Yeah.
but it just seems like it's a crowded group here.
Yeah. No, it's been good. It's been good. I think that's only, that's better for the players and better for the team. It's a good problem to have, so to speak. So, it'll be fun. Training.
It's a great problem to have. Metu talking about that positional battle that will happen in training camp. And training camp starts tomorrow. It's going to be fun to watch, to see what they say, how these practice runs go, and we'll see what happens. But let's take a look at what I thought was interesting too. Like, to use the word electric is special.
Great, man. I feel like there's a great electricity, energy in this building. Over the summer, guys were great, coaches were great, so I think we're headed in a good direction.
Does it feel different than things have here in the past?
Well, it felt a lot different than when I got here last year, so like I said, I think we're going in the right
He's in the
direction.
past. He's been there for.
If you don't mind.
The energy, the cohesion between everybody, just the overall feel, the chemistry, everything. So, yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's exactly what everyone's saying. You get a sense from the top down, and again, this is the first time in a long time that we can feel like this transition into hopefully what is stability, hopefully what is one single voice that is coming from the top down. And like you said, there's an electricity in the air. You can see it from the media day. There's a strong atmosphere right now amongst the Kings and the players and the organization where they feel like they're making strides in the right direction, and they know that it's a competition as soon as training camp starts, because like you said, there's only one bone, but multiple dogs in there that want it. So we're gonna see it day one, starting tomorrow.
Let's check out what I don't want to skip over TD, but TD essentially went the clip that I showed was him talking about his support system and how difficult it was for him. A huge shout out to his girlfriend, wife, I think. And during his injury, how he kind of lost a little bit of it. Then he was resurrected, and he had that passion once again. And I feel like that's one guy right there that's a microwave scorer. Both you and I agree that he's a bench player, but he's a tough son of a gun, and he can provide some things that other guys don't have on his roster. But it'll be interesting to see how he embraces this or how he approaches this battle, because everyone is between Monk and Kevin. And he's like, "Hey guys, look at me." And I'm not saying he's going to win the battle, but I'm just saying facts. I'm just trying to generate something, Vince. No, but seriously, I want Trey to lose some weight. TD will be a wild card.
I think TD is capable of being a real spark when Monk is out of the flow. There's going to be a game. There's going to be a few games in the season that people are going to get frustrated a little bit with Malik Monk. And it's because, and he even talks about it here during training day or during media day, where he's like, there's times where I rely heavily on my athleticism to be off the ball and I'm not fully engaged.
Yep.
Although he's addressing it, and it is nice to hear when a player addresses
super interesting. Yeah.
It's still a weakness that he has until proven otherwise. And I think there are still going to be multiple games this season where TD is going to get the opportunity because Monk isn't going to be doing a consistent job of being involved in the game, or his shot just isn't going. And like you said, TD can be a microwave. He can be a spark plug for this team. So I like what TD can bring. I'm very interested to see how he plays following this injury, a big injury to his career for the first time. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in him, but again, this is another battle at the position, another player that's going to make these starters or these key players that are going to be a part of this roster work and get better in training camp.
And that's something that the Kings haven't had in a long time, right? Because we used to have Corey Joseph as the guy who had no competition. We knew he was going to play just because his team was just so bad from a talent perspective. He shout out to Cliff, man. He shout out to Corey Joseph. But on that notion, you kind of skip some steps there. But yes, so let's address that what you just said. It's been a while since I've personally heard someone point out their weaknesses, and it's something that I feel like he's heard a lot. Like, hey, you fall asleep off the ball way too often, right? Same with De'Aaron Fox. Same with a lot of these guys on this team. And he is legit addressing it. And I love to hear that. And again, as you said, though, it's one thing to address it. That's, I guess, the right move in the right situation. But will he be able to execute on that? And right now, it's TBD, right? We don't know. But if he can fix that, I think he starts, but I can see why so many people are like, well, Kevin's going to start because Kevin can go through an entire game plan and execute it because even though he's not the athlete or the scorer that Malik is, he's like a coach's, I guess, go-to guy in a sense that he's going to do most of the things right. Not like phenomenal, but like enough to where a coach can trust him. And I feel like a lot of coaches league-wide in the NBA, and I was talking to some people, feel this way about Monk because, again, he falls asleep too much off the ball. And, like you said, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I'm excited for Monk. I'm excited for TD to show what he's capable of doing still past this injury. But yeah, that was very interesting. If you can pull that quote up just now, if we have it. That was such an interesting way for him to take. And I think it's so funny that he talks about
off the ball, man, being alert off the ball.
Right.
When I'm on the ball, I'm perfectly fine because I'm locked in. When I get off the ball,
well, he's not perfectly fine either on the ball, but okay.
And I can kind of. I used to get away with that, things like that, but guys are too good now, man. You got to be locked in throughout the whole play. So that's what I'm.
And
focusing.
De'Aaron said to ask you about how his defense has been giving you fits or what?
Giving who fits?
I love that reaction.
Oh, he's locked in. He locked in on defense, so he's got a lot of criticism there.
Yeah.
You feel like you've seen a lot from him there?
Yeah, I think everybody's gonna lock in this year, man. We've been getting a lot of heat from everybody, man. Everybody knows that. So I think we got a chip on our shoulder a little bit.
Davion said that you feel.
I like that, man. That was pretty fun.
I love the facial expression that he gives. He goes, "What did he say?" He
did
not say that.
Talking about that, here it is.
Let me ask you this before you play that Fox clip. Let me ask you this: do you think that him saying that is because that's his mindset, like, oh, I know what I need to get better. This is why the Kings brought me in, yada, yada, yada. Or do you think this is a sign of Mike Brown's coaching and taking on accountability to progress as a player and knowing that, hey, this is what we're going to be looking at in training camp? And he's talking about it ever. He's like, hey, I got to be better off ball. You'll see it during training camp. You're going to see it next season. Like, he's saying it now for the coaches, not for us. I mean, for us, it's nice clickbait. It's great to hear, but maybe it's because his head coach wants him to take accountability. Like, that's one of his key goals for these players. Maybe that's what that is, and that's a positive sign.
I would say that he's doing it for the coaches. I feel like that voice, as you said earlier, when Mike Brown talks, we tend to listen. And, you've mentioned in the past his relationship with LeBron and how he challenged LeBron to be better defensively. If LeBron's going to buy in, man, if you Malik Monk, you better embrace that role and try and get better, right? Like, you're in no position to be like, well, I'm just going to go in there, chug up shots, and piss people off. Like, no, like, you should want to embrace this new electric vibe energy that the Kings have right now and just try and play your part, man. You have the athletic ability, the capability of not falling asleep, at least not often like he has in the past. So buy into whatever Mike Brown and that coaching staff is saying, and the rest will take care of itself. But yes, yeah. I think it's that more than him being like, I need to be better. Like, it's I think they're buying into what Mike is selling.
Yeah, and another person that's going to say, you're about to play the clip now. The reason why the reporter asked Monk about, hey, Fox told me to ask about the defense is because the media asked him at media day, hey, what have you been improving on? Have you been improving on defense? And he said, go ask Monk about my defense. It's because he's also taking accountability. Is chips on their shoulder, like Monk said in that clip. Hey, there's chip on all of our shoulders. We need to get better. Like this again, accountability is being proven here in just these little clips that we're seeing. And I think that's something that we have to look at and say, okay, that's already a positive step before we even see them drop a ball on the floor.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, definitely. Ask them how pickups going. Yeah, ask Malik how pickups. I mean, we got some game-winning stops. I mean, everybody's been here, all the guards, TD, they got it. Just ask them how.
Hey, that's legit me telling people, hey, ask Vince how I smacked his ass. And you're like, what? What did he say? What are you talking about? Like, It's not on film. So until that happens, that's my point. Like, until that happens, like, that's how it is. Like, whenever I say things like that, what? And, like, you making these weird-ass face expressions like, he didn't do that. Nah, he didn't do that.
I know that. Like, that is exactly, like, when I see it, it makes me laugh because that's exactly what I think about. Like, I wish our last game we played was on film. You know what I'm saying?
I don't remember anything.
I
But
can't remember getting that vlog. We won't talk about it.
Yeah. But yes, Fox.
I'm hiding tonight. I was invited to come hoop with you after this show, but I already hooped earlier today. I'll admit I'm hiding tonight.
Fox is confident, as I wrote there, and that's a new swagger, man. I feel like ever since Mike Brown's press conference, he challenged him. He put him on the spot and said, "Man, you're the head of the snake. Like, you were this great defensive prospect, and all of a sudden you're bottom worst defenders in the league. But we know that you're capable of being that dude. And right now, just feeling his vibe, like he knows that, and he wants to be that guy, at least on media day. But we'll see." And he just has that swagger, like, ask that fool. Like, ask him. Like, I love seeing that. And that's something that I haven't seen from De'Aaron.
Yeah, I think it's just more of, again, accountability. I also think this is a step in the right direction. Bringing on friends like a Monk, bringing on someone that's a good support system like a Sabonis, who's also a proven leader, and bringing in a guy like Mike Brown, who's a player's coach, I think it's going to give us a bigger future outlook on De'Aaron Fox's ability to be a leader. And I think him just saying something like that is a leadership type of quality. Just say, hey, go ask him real quick. Just putting accountability on the other guy while also showing that go ask what I'm doing. You know what I mean? It's a leadership type of thing, just showing dominance.
So let's move on to Sabonis before we get into the duo. But this is Sabonis had to say about lethal shooter.
I know Chris a lot. We worked this summer as much as we could. I went back to Europe for national team, so kind of missed there a couple months. But I love learning, and learning from one of the best is great. He's taught me so much more than just shooting. There's a lot more that goes around behind the scenes, and I'm grateful for that, and I can't wait to get back to work with him.
I know it's a shot.
So huge shout out to Lethal Shooter, man. I know Lethal. I had him on the show in person, and he's grown just so much from the time that I had him on the show to now. Like, he is like a social media sensation, and I feel like he won't. I don't know, and I'm sure other teams have offered him, to be just like a shooting coach, but because he likes to work with so many different players, and Sabonis had a chance to work with him, I feel like his jump shot will improve this year. How much, we don't know, but his mechanics look better. Like, there's more arc in the shot.
Yeah, I think this will be a good test to see. I mean, if he first
Cowboys
off, like
won.
Nice. First off, shout out to Lethal Shooter, like you said. that's awesome that he's getting the recognition that he should. I mean, he has improved so many jump shooters, and the work that he did do with Sabonis, you can see in the videos it is looking better. He's not shooting it so flat, like you said. There's actually an arch on it, but now there's a lot of publicity behind it that I think that now there's we want to be able to see Sabonis knocking down those shots.
Right.
I mean, it'll be interesting. I think Sabonis' jump shot ability is going to play a huge factor in the next season, and if he can knock down a shot or not, just as much as it is Fox.
Yep. Let's look at what Davion had to say.
Turns the team up. I think that even the past years and the teams that I play with, when they see me guard, everyone else wants to guard. It makes everyone excited.
Are you officially not a rookie anymore?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Yeah, it's the first game. That's what they say, which I don't understand. It should just be like when you start training camp.
I think they're lying to you, man.
Are they lying?
I think so.
Yeah, I got to get on that.
How does it feel going into your second training camp and knowing the grind of a regular NBA season?
I mean, it feels good. You kind of got the taste of the first season. You kind of know what to expect. I mean, even though we got new teammates and new coaches and things like that, but you kind of know the grind, the things that you got to go through just to win in this league, because it's hard to win.
What kind of adjustments are you going to make about the grind, about keeping your body fresh and making sure you're good to go for 82 games?
Yeah, just being smarter about how hard I work, about how many times I get in the gym, about sleeping, things like that. Knowing I got to sleep, can't really be in the gym. Those things are important for me and our team.
Can you speak to the partnership that you can see playing alongside, not just backing up or behind De'Aaron, but playing next to De'Aaron and sharing the floor with him, what you think that dynamic could look like?
Yeah, I think this offseason kind of working on a lot of catching and shooting, knowing that De'Aaron can get in the lane past anyone with the best of them. So he's also a really good guy to pass the ball. So just me catching and shooting and makes his life easier for me. And I can do the same thing for both because he's been working hard on his catch and shoot too.
Okay, so I think that should be its own show, but let's briefly talk about that. And it's fascinating to think about because everyone thinks it's Herder and Monk, but how much of a possibility, and I don't think many people are talking about this, is the fact that we will see a lot of Davion and De'Aaron Fox at the 1 and 2, and them just interchanging and just playing fast because Davion is just so much better defensively than both Kevin and Monk.
Yeah, I mean, I'll always remember the game that Davion played against Donovan Mitchell, that first game, and just seeing back-to-back rips on Donovan Mitchell. I mean,
yeah.
And I'll be honest, he said, I'm not going to hit the gym as much and get some sleep. And then you look at him sitting in that jersey. That man looked like he gained like 8 to 10 pounds and just muscle. Man, that man's looking yoked right now.
Yeah.
I think it's a real possibility that we do see a lot of Fox and Mitchell pairings. The big thing that I saw from Mitchell, though, that I want to continue to see, and this is why I like him off the bench, is he showed that he can be a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter from the corner. He showed he can be a passer. He wasn't afraid of big moments down the stretch in the season. Now, I get it. It was against secondary type of teams. When you're playing the second stringers, a lot of players can look good. But his defense, whether it was against starters or those players, showcased in those moments why he needed to be guarding the best player on the floor at all times. So, I mean, I think it's a real possibility that you see them two on the floor together for at least, 8 to 10 minutes per game. I wouldn't be surprised about that.
Right. I asked Rashawn about him and
it's very exciting.
Him and Sabonis playing together.
Floor again, get ready for training camp. You can't help but be excited about that. So looking forward to it.
Is the no goggles and glasses a media day decision, or are we going to see those no more?
Oh no, the goggles will be back game day. Just for the media day, want to be a little bit more comfortable, but definitely wearing goggles this year.
Never again.
I don't think after last year. Never again. Never again.
How do you see yourself playing alongside Sabonis?
I see that fitting perfectly. We basketball players, man. You put us out there, we'll make it work.
So, as you said, we're basketball players and we'll make it work. Do you buy that? Because I do.
I mean, I think you want your best 5 out there at all times. And I think if you're looking in terms of a defensive 5, Rashawn Holmes is that. And having a guy like Sabonis next to him as your best player, arguably the best player on the team, is the right situation. So, yes, they can make it work. Is it something that I want to see consistently at this point and what we've seen in the NBA today? Probably not, but I don't want the Kings to be afraid of testing that lineup out. And I do believe we are going to see it way more than people think.
I do
There's
too.
teams out there that you can see. I can see Rashawn Holmes maybe not being consistently doing it, but against the team like let's say the Denver Nuggets, top of the Western Conference, you can see Rashawn Holmes guarding at times and Aaron Gordon. That wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, you can see this lineup against a team like Cleveland. That wouldn't surprise me at all. So obviously it's going to be matchup based, and sometimes I want the Kings to turn the game upside down and make the other team adjust to their adjustments and adjust to their lineups. And maybe that is the way they do that, by having a Rashawn Holmes Sabonis lineup. And again, it's going to come down to the shooting of Sabonis and if they're able to still stretch the floor. And that doesn't even need to be threes, just mid-range poppers. And being able to have room down there for Fox or Barnes or anyone to cut to the basket and finish around the rim.
Yeah, HB loved him. He talked about him in this clip. But let's look at what Keegan said about Mike Brown's defense.
There's so much more defense than what I know. So it's I think it'll just be good for me to experience that. Obviously at Iowa, a lot of stuff we did was offense, get up and down the court and things like that. So I'm excited to learn new stuff on that end of the court. And excited to get to work.
And just being in soccer.
He's excited because at Iowa, he ran a lot. As you said, they focus on offense. But right now, he has a lot to learn because it seems like a lot of his stuff is complex to some extent, right?
I mean, I think, again, this is a young player, high IQ player, knows what he needs to work on heading into training camp and just putting himself accountable in front of the media. Again, this could be something that's on what Mike Brown is preaching, is just be accountable for the things you know you need to improve on and talk about it, because now I want everyone to focus on that on you. Like them bringing it up is us now going to be looking at it throughout training camp, throughout games, everything like that. So I think this is just another big step for him. Hey, defense is going to be big for me. And he showed that he could be a good team defender. Lateral quickness is going to be something he needs to work on. I don't even know if that can truly improve in a big way, but knowing where he needs to be. And Mike Brown's improvement defensively with Andrew Wiggins is going to be something that people are going to continue to float out. And maybe that's something that we can see with a young player like Keegan Murray.
Okay, so let's go over, quickly. I thought Kevin was funny. I didn't show all the clips, but he's pretty funny. Like, I think Kings fans are going to love him in terms of his personality. He's chill, laid-back type of guy. And let's talk about this duo. I posed the question, is Fox and Sabonis the best pick-and-roll duo in the NBA?
You playing the clip? Oh, there you go. Fox and Fox.
Yeah. I said it ain't going to be up there for 5 seconds. You got David? No, we don't want David on. I said we don't want David on.
That's funny. We don't want Davion in this picture. I thought that was funny. But can these two be the best pick and roll duo in the NBA?
What were they, third? They're behind DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul, and what was it, James Harden and Joel Embiid? Was that the two ahead of them, or was it Ayton, then them, then Harden? I know it was like they were in the top three when they came together. Can they be? Again, yeah, I think they can be. I mean, that 1-2 punch showed to be so effective. That pick and roll showed to be one of the most effective things the Kings have had in an offense in 10 years. I mean, it was nice to see a fundamental game of basketball with them too. So can they be? Yes. Do they now have the shooting around them? Yes. I really want to see Fox continue the trend that he did when Sabonis came around, which was let Sabonis run the offense. Let Sabonis be the guy that makes the plays. Now, look, you're going to be able to make those quick twitch passes, that half-second rule that Mike Brown likes to preach in his early flow offense. Let Fox make those decisions, but in those half-court sets, I think you're going to see Sabonis as the main decision-maker, and I think Fox needs to be okay with it. And again, the ownership, the accountability, the player coach that Mike Brown is, I think we're going to see strides of that, or at least you're going to hope to see strides of that heading into training camp tomorrow.
Well, that's going to do it, y'all. We are at the 30-minute mark. Huge shout out to Chase and Zanell Grove for sponsoring this episode of the CK Podcast. We are officially back, man. It's basketball season once again. We're here for top-level content consistently. Keyword there. I know Vince is working hard on the gambling aspect of things. But yeah, man, lots of cool stuff, lots of NBA stuff too, Raptor stuff. We'll be focusing a lot on the Raptors this year. And lots of stuff to come by. We got training camp starting tomorrow for every team. And preseason starts next Monday. Kings versus Lakers in LA. That should be a fun one there. We'll get to see Mr. Bald LeBron James. And we'll go from there. We're going to start dissecting lineups and taking shit out of context. Because that's what we do. I mean, that's what you have to do when you just have to talk about things, right?
Yeah, I wanna bring up one more thing before we go, because I thought this was like a huge thing for me after media day. How did you feel the energy was for Monty McNair?
I didn't even see him or like talk to him. I got there like at 1:10, and I must have missed him.
Okay, so I watched that whole interview.
Okay.
I found him to be the most open with the media since his time in Sacramento. The most joking, the wanting to be relatable, conversating. I think he's showing confidence in the roster that he built. There was one quote that he said in there where he says, "Is my contract online or something?" Like just making a joke. Like, are you guys talking about this? He's like, my team and my camp. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, my team, my camp over here. We're excited. I want to be in Sacramento a long time. I feel as if there's, unless something catastrophic happens, it seems he knows an extension is coming. And this team that he built is a strong team to, lay your hat on and say, hey, I built this. Now let's see what we can build from this. I took it away as I was excited to see this Monty McNair. He was the most fun. This was the best interview I think he's ever had.
That's saying something. But that's going to do it, y'all. We'll bring you guys those clips tomorrow or the following day. Thank you guys so much. On behalf of the entire CK family, Basketball Zone family, we'll see you guys very, very soon. Peace.